This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, good morning. Let's get started. So we are going to continue with our discussion on recovery services vault. And in that recovery services vault, we were discussing about the backup services, and we were discussing about uh, the migration process itself, right? So these are the two things that which we were discussing, and we'll continue to discuss that today and tomorrow. I think tomorrow also we may have to continue with that. If not tomorrow, maybe on Monday, right? So Monday we will be completing the entire migration process discussion and the migration situations and scenarios discussion, and we'll be able to kind of migrate the VMs from the VMware environment to the Azure environment. So we will go phase by phase because not everything will be able to complete in one day. Um, Right. So to start with for today's today's discussion we had seen yesterday, and we went ahead and seen recovery services vault. And within that recovery services vault, we said that there are two things. One is backup, and second one is site recovery. Right? Site recovery. And within the site recovery, what you can do is you can go and perform a disaster recovery, or you can also migrate, right? These are the two things which are available within your site recovery. So one is migrations and second one is disaster recovery or disaster recovery solution. Now what in the part of this backup, what we did is we went ahead and created a backup schedule, and we had seen how do we create a backup schedule, and we created a backup policy and saying that there should be a schedule, and that backup policy is tagged to a VM, right? And that VM was VM1, that which we backed up yesterday. And when we backed up, it was still under the backup in progress, and we did initiate the initial backup manually, right? Now what we are going to do today is, let us say that you got into a situation where the entire VM itself is not working properly, or there could be some virus issue or whatever, and you want to restore the entire VM from your backup, right? So that is a situation that which we are going to simulate. And the second simulation that which will be is like, let us say that first one is entire VM restore, is the first step. And the second step is, let us say that you want to go and only kind of restore some files and folders, right, from that VM. So this is a VM restore, and this is file folder restore, right? So we are going to look at these two options, right? So let us say that you have a situation where you lost some files and folders and you want to restore it. That will be part of your file folder restoration. Or you have a entire VM itself is corrupted due to some XYZ reasons, and you want to restore the VM itself. So these are the two situations that which we are going to go and look at today. And then we'll get into site recovery and discuss further on the migration part, where we'll be looking at the the Azure Migrate portal and then assessment of that and so on, right? So this is the agenda for today. Let me quickly take you to the backup stuff first, and then from there we'll move on to the recovery services. Within that recovery services, from there we'll move on to the migration itself, right? Now, where do you find your backup option? It is under the recovery services vault. And if you go to the overview, if you go and select the recovery services vault you created, and within that, if you go to the overview, you have multiple options for backup, as well as you have options for site recovery, right? So we are now for this first part, we'll be concentrating on backup. Now you have a dashboard where you can go and look at the backup related data, right? Or you can also directly go to the backup itself from here, right? If you look at it, We configured a backup yesterday for one item, so that's the reason it is showing there's a backup for one item, right? And backup storage is LRS and GRS, right? So this is the data that which it is showing. So you have a geographically replicated backup that whatever you took. Now let us, if you want to see the items that which you are backing up, you can go to the backup items. And then you see there is one backup item which is a virtual machine that which is backing up. So you can click on that, it will take you to the if you yeah, it should take you to the backup item that whatever you are taking the backup of, right? Now what is that you see? This is a VM1 and the part of resource, and the last backup status check was success and passed, and the backup is also passed, right? So which means that you have a successful backup of this particular VM. Now if you go to that VM itself, or where you can also go to that VM from here, right? If you go to that VM, right? So here there were two. If you look at the if you look at the backup jobs, let me go to the backup jobs. Okay, let me go to the backup jobs. Now we created initial configuration yesterday in the morning, and then we initiated a backup right in the morning, and there was a scheduled backup as well which got completed successfully, right? Which got successfully completed, right? So this how you can go and look at the status of the backup jobs that which are running in the backup jobs option. And if you have any alert that let us say that your backup is failed or something, then you can go and find that in the alerts option, right? Now let us say that you want to restore or recover the VM, or you want to restore the files, whatever you lost or whatever, right? Now that's where you have these two options that which you are seeing here, right? The first option is file recovery, and the second option is entire VM restore itself, right? That's what you are seeing, right? So the file recovery, this is one, and the entire VM restore, right? Now, if you want to restore the entire VM, we'll go with the first option, and if you want to restore only files, then you go with the second option, right? So let us go and first recover the files. Okay, let us go and first try to recover the files. Okay, then we will go with the restore VM, because restore VM will take time. Even if it is running, we can leave that. The file recovery, let us go there and then click on the file recovery part. The situation is you want to restore some files from the VM. Now what it does is, if you look at this entire options, the first step is the recovery point that which you want to select, right? So this is the latest, and this is the one that which we created yesterday in the morning. And whichever one you want to go and select, you can go and select as a recovery point, right? From which date or which time you want to restore the data, right? That's the recovery point. And the second thing that what you are looking at is download script to browse the recovery files. Now what does this do? This will give you a PowerShell executable or a Windows executable script, which you will be downloading. And once you download and execute this script, what it does is it maps your disks as a mounted files, as a mounted file system. Sorry, mounted file system, right? So this is what this script will mount the disks from the selected recovery point as the local drives of the machine where it runs, right? And these will remain mounted for 12 hours. After 12 hours, there will be timeout, and that will get unmounted. Of course, you also see an option here called unmount, where you can go and unmount yourself after copying the data, right? This is also another option. Let us first go and download the executable, right? Let's first go and download the executable, right? So when you click on the download executable, it should download an exe file or script, and then it will give you a password that which you will be providing during the execution of the script. It will ask you the password, right? Let us wait for that script to be executable to be downloaded. Right, you can see, let me save this, open folder, right? This is the executable that which gets downloaded. Let me run this as an administrator. Now it basically runs a PowerShell executable command, right? It basically runs a PowerShell executable command. Now let us see what it does, right? It is executing a PowerShell script.ps1 elevate with elevated permissions. Right, you can see your Azure VM backup recovery point. And then what it asks you is enter the 15-character password shown in the portal to securely connect to your recovery point. So when you try to restore this, you have a recovery point password, right? This is the password that which Azure is giving you to go and put that here, right? Let me go and put that recovery point password, right? So what you can see that we have okay, so enter Y to proceed. It says there's already a connection. So it is using your iSCSI service to connect or mount that file system, right? Right. So you can see that connection is successful and it is attaching your volumes. Once the volumes are attached, you should be able to see them in your My Computer as a mounted drive, right? Now what you see here is there is a drive called G drive that which got mounted, and this G drive, you look into it, these are the mounted files from your backup, right? Now let us say that you are in need of a file in the Windows Azure directory and under configuration something, and then you can just copy paste those files. Let us say that I want to copy this file. I'll go and copy those files, and then, right, I can go and keep that on my location wherever I want to paste, right? So likewise, you will get all your data that whatever you lost by mounting the file system to your local system or local computer or whichever the computer you run that executable file on, right? So what you did, you executed the script that whatever is provided by Microsoft here. You downloaded the executable, you gave the password, and that get mounts itself as a drive. In our case, it mounted as a G drive, right? And you recover the files, and then once you are done with that, you can go and unmount the files, right? You see an option here to unmount the files, which will unmount your file system, whatever is mapped. If you are not unmounting this and leaving that as it is, there is a timeout period of 12 hours within which your disks will be unmounted automatically, right? That is your file system recovery or file or folder recovery, right? That is the first part. Let us go and unmount that particular disk. Click on the unmount disk. You can see the unmount is in progress. Then you should be able to see that that drive is no longer visible. It may take some time, but it will be invisible once this is successful, right? That's how you can go and mount or unmount the data and restore the data, right? Now this is a file recovery, right? This is a file recovery. So now let us say that there is a situation where this VM1 for which you took the backup got corrupted, or the file system itself got corrupted. Let us say that you did a patching of your VM during the weekend and it got corrupted, and your application is not functioning as expected. Now you can restore that as an entire VM itself, right? So rather restoring the files and folders, You can restore that as an entire VM because you have the entire VM backup. Okay. Now, how do I do that? I mean, you can go from the recovery services vault, or you can also go from the backup option within the VM also. It will take you to the same blade, right? So here you see an option called as restore VM, right? Here you see an option called restore VM, right? Now, what is this restore VM option is? This restore VM option restores your complete VM. Now, the question arises whether I need to replace the existing VM or do I need to create a new VM, right? When you try to restore it, if there is already a VM with that name, it will ask you whether you want to replace the existing one or you want to create a VM with a new name parallel to that, right? Let us go and quickly see how does the restoration work. Click on restore VM, right? So obviously it will ask you the recovery point to which you want to restore. I'll go with the latest backup, whatever you had, the snapshot and vault backup, and then it will ask you to configure the restoration. Now in this restoration, if you go and look at, you have two options here. What is the first option? Create a new, replace the existing one. All right. Now what does this do? Create a new. To create an alternate configuration when restoring your VM, right? Use the following. Replace existing means the disks from the selected restore points will be replaced the disks of your existing VM. So it is not going to touch anything other than your disks. That's what we need to understand. All right. Now the replace disks is what the option that which you see. All right. And you also need a place where you want to store this, but that's where your storage account will come into picture. Right? Where it's in a storage account, right? The page blob and other stuff, same thing. But I want to go and create a new VM. I don't want to kind of restore or replace the existing VM. I want to create a new VM, right? I'll say that. What is the name of the VM you want to give? I'll want to give it as restore VM1 or VM1. And resource group, obviously a network security, network into which that should be, and the default subnet. And you need a staging location. For that, you need a, what do you call it, a storage account, right? You need a storage account. Because I already have a storage account, I'll go and use that, right? Click on OK. Now this will initiate the restoration of your virtual machine. And again, you are restoring the VM as a separate VM without disturbing the existing VM that whatever you have, right? Now your restoration has started. Where do you find the status of that? You go to all jobs, then you should be able to see a job which is running, which is nothing but related to your restore, right? You can see the operation is restore and the workload, what you are restoring is VM from VM1, and then this is the pro, right? Now, if you also look into it, the initial backup that what it took around 1 hour 21 minutes. The subsequent backup that whatever it took 1 hour 1 minute. So what it means is then the restoration may also take approximately the same time. Let us wait and see by the end of this class if this finishes. Otherwise, the restoration is kind of very simple, straightforward. You should be able to see a new VM created here with the name rvm1, which is restore VM1 because it is restoring. It may take some time, but you will see another VM created here in this particular list. Okay. So I'll pause here. If you have any questions, you can ask. Okay, so I'll take that as no, and we'll move on with further discussion on another topic within the recovery services vault. Okay, so let me go to the recovery services vault. Right, recovery services vault we had seen backup. Let us go into the site recovery itself. As I said, site recovery has got two options, right? One is your disaster recovery and the second one is the migration, right? Within the migration, what we had seen is we discussed a tool called as migration tool, which basically helps you to migrate all your VMware workloads to the Azure, right? It helps you to migrate all VMware workloads to your Azure, right? Let us say this is the recovery point. This is the recovery point. This is the recovery point. Using this, okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Site recovery, migrations, and within these migrations, you have something called as a tool called Azure Migrate. Azure Migrate. Azure Migrate. Azure Migrate. And this Azure Migrate tool will help you for assessment. What does it help with? It helps with assessment. Now, as I said in our yesterday's class, we have to download a .ova file from your Microsoft portal to continue with the assessment. That we had already done, right? Now, let me show you how do you create a assessment file. To go to the assessment, you don't find this assessment option here. You have to get into something called as another service, which is called as Azure Migrate. Azure Migrate. This also we had seen yesterday, right? Azure Migrate. Now within this Azure Migrate, what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to go and create a project, right? We created that yesterday, right? In our yesterday's class, we created a project, right? Or you can also go to the projects if to find your existing migration projects also, right? We already have a project. Let us go to the migration projects and you should see our migration project that which we created yesterday, right? So we created a project yesterday called demo project. If you want to create another project, you can create multiple projects. But we had seen in our yesterday's class, how do we create a migration project. Now I have a migration project created. Now I need to feed data into this particular migration project, right? Now for that, you have an option here called discover and assess, right? To feed the data. Now to discover and assess, what it says is it gives you two steps. Step one, discover the virtual machine. Step 2 is the create the assessment. The step 1 to discover the virtual machines, as I said, if you click that button, you need to go and download a OVA file. You need to download a OVA file. Once you download the OVA file, then you will be able to collect the data of your virtual machine, right? So let me click on this download OVA file. What it does is it takes me to the another page where it will, you can see it downloads the OVF file which we had already done, which is around 18 GB. Let me cancel that. And you also have something called as project credentials. You have also something called as project credentials, which you will be giving that as an input to your OVA file, that whatever you downloaded. Okay, so let me go and show you that downloaded OVA file. You can see that this downloaded OVA file which is already up and active, right? And this OVA file is around 20 GB, which you need to download and import into your VMware vCenter environment on your VMware vCenter, right? Now, after downloading this, let me take the RDP of that. I'm not sure if I already have it. I don't have it. So this OVA file is a Windows machine. Then you have to configure your credentials, and then you need to run a tool called as run collector.exe. You can see this, right? You can see a tool on the desktop itself, which is run collector.exe, right? This tool, run collector.exe. Once you run this tool, it basically launches the wizard. That what you see here, right? This is the wizard that which it launches, or on a portal, IIS portal, it launches this. and it has multiple steps. This also we had seen. We had seen Azure Cloud or a government internet connection. It will go and validate. It will go and check the time synchronization, right? So that seems again there's a problem with time synchronization on this machine. We can go and fix that, and then it checks for a service called collector service, and it installs a Azure Power CLI, right? That's what it does, right? So let me click and check again. Now you can see the time synchronization is good, right? Now once the first steps are done, you will go with vCenter configuration. What you do, you go with your vCenter configuration. Now here in the vCenter configuration, you have to give your vCenter server IP address. Now in our case, our vCenter server is 192.168.0.22. That's what I had given. And the ID which gives you access to the data, right? Specify the read-only account for accessing the vCenter. So because you are migrating, you are assessing the data, it needs read-only access to the vCenter. That's where the ID that what you are using here should have required privileges on the vCenter. Now once you connect it, it will give you the hosts that which are part of that cluster, right? The hosts that are part of that cluster. If you click on connect, it will give you, once it is connected, it will give you the list of hosts, whichever are part of this particular vCenter, right? Let that connection continue, right? You can see that it's connected. Once you are connected to the vCenter, whatever the number of VMs or clusters, hosts or clusters that which you have on that particular vCenter, you should be able to see them here, right? So if I go to my vCenter, I have only one host of multiple windows. I have only one host in my vCenter. That's the reason you are able to see a data center with the name Hyderabad Data Center, and then within that you see only one ESXi host. That's the reason you are able to see one host when you go and use that particular wizard, right? That's the reason you are able to see only one host, right? Let me go and right. So this is how you go and select the VMware environment, that part. And the next step is, once you have that, it discovers and tells that okay, there are 22 machines on that particular environment. That is true. Yes, we have 22 machines. And then I'll go and continue it. Now you had connected this tool to your hypervisor environment, in our case your vCenter. Now I need to integrate this with project that what I created, right? The project I created had a project ID, and it also got a project key, right? It has got a project ID and it has got a project key, right? This is what you want to go and feed it here. That's what you are doing, right? You are going and putting your project ID, you are going and putting your project, and then you connect. So once you connect, it will go and connect to your project in the Azure, right? That is the reason you definitely need internet connectivity on this particular machine. Okay. Now let that get connected. So you can see the connection successful. Then you can click on continue. Now once you click on the continuation, you can see the data collection will start progress, and then it will start feeding all the data to your project, right? Now, so what you are doing in this phase is only assessment. That means that you are collecting the data of your entire VMware environment, and you are trying to look at what are the different servers you have, what is the capacity utilization, and so on, right? Now there is some problem, could not initiate the performance data collection. That's fine, but you still will be able to go and look at that data, that whatever you have as a part of this project, right? Now what did you do? You went ahead and these credentials you did, and you configured the collector machine, right? That's what you did in the discover and assessment. Once you are done with the discovery process, the moment your synchronization happens, you will see the list of all VMs Sorry guys, that was an emergency call. Right. So once you get into the machines, right? Once you get into the machines, you will see all the machines that whatever you have on premises, inventory of all the machines that whatever you have on premises is listed here, right? So I have 22 machines. So all my 22 machines or 23 machines that whatever I have will be visible here. Now this is your assessment. This is your inventory whatever you have on your vCenter server, right? This is the inventory that whatever you have on your vCenter server on premises. Now you have this data. Now you have this data feeded, and what Microsoft recommends is continue with this data capturing for 30 days. That's what the recommended duration. And then you will get right metrics, what is the performance utilization of each machine, and whether the machine is underutilized, overutilized, and so on. That you will get to know to size your environment in a right way, right? That is the advantage of the assessment, right? Now you can go and use this data and create an assessment, right? You can create an assessment, right? How do you create an assessment? We have an option here called assessment. You can go and click on that, and then you can give some name to that assessment, right? You can give some name to the assessment, and you can use groups. If you don't have a groups, you can also create a group. Let me create a demo group, right? Let me create a group, and then what are those machines that which you want to be part of this particular assessment group? If you want to select everything, you can go and obviously select everything and create an assessment. Now, what is this assessment is? What does this assessment will have? Let us quickly go and look into it. Now this assessment you created, let us go and look into it. What are the information that which you have? Now this assessment will give you a report, right? Will give you a report. What report does it give? It gives you a report. How many VMs are Azure ready, which means can be straight away migrated to Azure, right? That's the first option. What this report tells is your assessment tool validates whether the VMs that whatever part of this particular assessment are straight away migrated or can be straight away migrated to Azure or not. And there are 3 ready with some condition if you look into it, right? There are 3 ready with some condition. And you are also getting the cost of that, right? You are also getting the cost. If you look into it, you are also getting the cost. Let that get populated. Right? Monthly USD dollars, right? What is the cost for all those VMs? Right? What is the VM cost and what is the storage cost? They are dividing it, right? Now it is also picking some default values. If you see it, target location is US2 and the sizing is based on performance. What is that sizing is based on? Sizing is based on performance. We'll see that how do we change that. And then the currency that whatever it's shown is US dollars, and it is saying that it is a hybrid, right? Now let me get into this Azure readiness option. Okay, so Azure readiness and cost details. Azure readiness give you the same thing, whatever you are seeing there, right? It will give you more in detail, right? The same thing with additional stuff, whatever you have, and you also see the cost details. Cost of the VM if you migrate that to Azure. Cost of that VM if you migrate that to Azure. Now let us say that there is a server called LS, right? Let us say there is a server called LS. Now, what is that Azure recommending? The size is standard F1, right? When you create a VM, you go and select the size of the VM, right? Now, in that size, this assessment tool is suggesting you, boss, you can go and use this particular size. And for this HSD1, it is suggesting F4, SV2, and so on, right? So it also gives you the cost here. So if you want to go and export this into a sheet and you want to use that, and you can use it, right? You can export this into a file, and then you can open that file where you can go and find the data with all the details, right? If you can see it, so you can generate the, right? Azure readiness, monthly estimate, storage, whatever you have seen there, right? It's a macro file and your VMs, whatever the VMs you have, right? Now, if you look at this data, so you see this Azure readiness, ready to Azure, or you can also see ready with some conditions, which means that this particular VM is not ready for migration for some XYZ reason, because this is an NetScaler appliance, which is an appliance basically with a non-Windows operating system. That's the reason I think it is showing that as a not ready, right? Now, if I am, it went ahead and looked at a LS server, and it observed what is the what do you call it as CPU memory and so on. Then it is suggesting this, right? It is suggesting. Now, what it says that if you use this F1 standard F1, the monthly cost of your compute is this one, the monthly cost of your storage is this one. This will be your overall cost, right? And it tells you what operating system that machine is, and the BIOS is how many cores of CPUs, what is the memory allocated to that machine, and what is the CPU utilization of that. That's the reason it will take an average of it. It reads your statistics from your vCenter, right? Now it is just 5.38% of CPU you are using, which means that you are not using the entire CPU, whatever is allocated to your VMs on-prem. You can take a call whether you still want to go with 2 CPUs or you can still want to reduce it, right? And the memory utilization is 9.9%, which means that around 10% of the 6 GB, around 5 point some GB. Now it is strange that you are not using everything, right? Again, you can go and take a call whether you want to have this entire 6 GB on your cloud or you want to reduce it, right? So these values will help us a lot when making the size of this particular VMs when you migrate. Now, so that's the reason it's not a 1 day, 2 day values of your average will help you. If you have a 1 month average value, then that may give you a right figure of how much CPU or memory is needed for your environment, right? Storage, how many disks, what type of disk, right? And what is the IOPS on your disk, right? What is the IOPS per second? What is the writes and reads per second? How many megabytes per second, right? So all this information is captured. Network adapters, how many you have, and then network speed also it will give you. Like you can see it's 0.01 Mbps and your vCenter details, right? Now this is a detailed report. Of course, you'll get more data as we kind of enable the performance stuff and other things. But again, this is very useful, which is part of your assessment, initial assessment. Now, once you have this data and you talk to all your stakeholders and group these machines, and then you go with the migrate, right? So without doing all these things, you cannot straight away migrate like what we do in the lab, right? So we cannot straight away migrate like what we do in the lab, right? So that's how you will be taking care of the things when it comes to the assessment, right? So when you go with the assessment, there are two options actually. If I edit these properties, somewhere there should be an option whether you want to assess based on the performance data or the data that whatever you want to, right? So if you go and look at this, right, the sizing criteria, right? You see the sizing criteria here. Let me highlight that. Sizing criteria is performance based, you want, you can change it to the other option, which will give you based on the size of the VMs that whatever you have, right? And the performance history is 1 day and so on, how many and so on, right? So these details can be edited when you create your assessment, right? You can go to the option. There's an edit option where you can go and edit, right? Let me see if I can go and edit and show you that. Right? That's not editing. Let me show you the other, right? So these are the details. Okay, the assessment become invalid. Use recalculate command to. Okay, so let us go with recalculate. That is an option called recalculate. Then go and edit it. Right now it will give you the option of editing. Now, if you look at the sizing perspective, there are two options here. One is on premises, right? And the second one is on performance based, right? So in second one, if you select, it takes the performance of your data, and then how many days data you want to take into consideration. As I said, it's 1 month is recommended. That's what maximum 1 month you can go. And then you select the VMs and so on, right? So you can go and play around with this tool and understand what are the different options. But this is a very good tool that which you can use for your assessment, right? That which you can use for your assessment. And there are other third-party tools that which you can use. But again, this VMware Azure Migrate tool is for your VMware environment, and it is in preview mode or preview phase for your what you call Hyper-V, right? So when we talk about the environments that which we move, the virtual environments, most of them will be your VMware environment. That's the reason I selected VMware related stuff to show that. But you can also go and look at the documentation for Azure for Hyper-V migration to Azure. Right, there are a few steps that which will be different, but again, it's worth of going through and reading it. Okay, now, so this is the assessment phase, right? So now let us say that you have all data, whatever is needed. And after collecting this data, you went ahead and you had spoken with all the stakeholders and you agreed, okay, come to a point where, okay, these are the machines that which to be grouped together and these are the VM sizes and so on. Then you got to a point where you decided to go ahead with the migration, right? Now, this is the first phase of assessment. Then you go with the migration, right? So for migration, again, I have to go where? I have to go to my recovery services. What? Go to my recovery services. What? And within this recovery services vault, you anyway create a vault for migration, and that vault will have a recovery option, right? Site recovery. And using the site recovery, you migrate the VMs. You migrate the VMs from your on-premises to your Azure cloud. Now you see here for on-premises machine, this is the first step. Prepare the infrastructure, right? For on-premises machine and Azure VMs, you go with this one. I don't know what's the difference between them, but anyway, they gave two options. Anyway, you come here while you use this particular option. Let us go and click on the prepare infrastructure. That is where you will be starting. You'll start with the preparation of the infrastructure, right? What is the protection goal? What is the goal? Okay, do you have VMs where? The migrating VMs, whatever you want to migrate, where do you have them? Do you have them on Azure or do you have them on premises? I mean, it should be only on premises. I don't know why they gave two options here, but Let us go and select on-premises because I want to migrate VMs, whatever I have on-premises. Now, where do you want to replicate your virtual machines? The second question. Is it to a site recovery or is it to Azure? Site recovery is again a DR solution, but I want to go with Azure because I am using a migration, right? So you selected where the machines are. Now you selected where do you want to replicate, and you said, okay, it's on premises, but what on premises? Is it physical server? Is it virtual server? Okay, if it is virtual server, whether it is Hyper-V, whether it is VMware ESXi, right? That's what you're going to select here. Are your machines virtualized? Yes, no, right? If yes, whether it is Hyper-V or whether it is VMware ESXi or it is non-virtualized others. In our case, it is VMware Hyper-V, right? So this is the first step within the migration process where you go and define the protection goal, which basically says what is the source, where you are migrating, and what type of machines you have within the source, right? So let me go and say okay. And the second step, what it is called as deployment planning. Now within this deployment planning, it will ask you a question. Have you completed the deployment planning? Now that's what your assessment phase is, right? Now you have to plan your deployment, group the servers, understand the requirement and the sizing of the VMs and so on, right? Now for that, you can either go with the migrate tool, and they also say that there's one more tool if you look into it, right? Deployment planner. There's another tool that can also be used, right? We are not going to go and look into it. I'll leave that to you to go and go through that one, right? So I'll say that okay, I've done all the assessment that whatever I have to do because I did that using Azure migration tool, right? So yes, I have done it. Say okay. Now it will ask you to prepare the source. It will ask you to prepare the source. Now what is your source? Your source is VMware ESXi environment, right? Your source is VMware ESXi environment. Now to prepare the source, you have two options here. You have two options here. One is your configuration server and second one is your vCenter configuration, right? What is this? One is your configuration server, second one is your vCenter. Now what is this configuration? What is this configuration? Let us go and look into it. Let me click on this plus symbol to add the configuration. You can see some what you call text here. Configuration server in the command bar above. To set up, click on the configuration plus button, right, to configure your source virtual machine and register it with your vault. Let us click on this plus symbol. Try to understand what it can give us. Okay, so configuration server is this. You have to configure this. For that, you have to download a template. What is that? You have to download a template. Let me go and click on the new tab, which will help me to download a template. Now what it does is it downloads another OVF file. You can see it, Microsoft Azure Site Recovery Configuration Server.ovf file, which is around 20 GB. This is another appliance, right? This is another appliance which will go and download the OVF file and import that to your vCenter, right? This is your file that which we import. This is the file that which you import, right? Azure Site Recovery Configuration Server -new is what we import. Now, once you import this, what you have to do is you have to go and configure this server, right? Download, import the configuration server to your vCenter, right? Connect the virtual machines console once it is successfully booted up. complete the server by accepting the configuration, by accepting the license agreement and so on, launch the site recovery configuration wizard and complete the configuration, right? That's what it does. Now, what is this configuration server? Let us try to understand that. Let us try to understand what is this configuration. Now you have this Azure environment and you have this on-premises environment, and on-premises you have your VMware environment, and on that VMware environment you have multiple machines, and you are also importing a configuration server .ova file. Now this configuration.ova file will be a mediator between your vCenter and your Azure Recovery Vault. Your Recovery Vault, right? So when you want to migrate any machine from to Azure, all the configuration information or migration will happen through this configuration server. And this traffic will be on 443, and there's one more port for the data transfer, which is around 9,000 plus port. That's what will be the two ports that will be used for the data transfer and synchronization, right? Now we had already went ahead and downloaded. We had already downloaded the OVA file. You can see it, right? And it is simple, straightforward, right? Right click and deploy OVA file, and then you go and select the source of the file, right? So wherever you keep it, you can see that it is there here in my download folders, and then you go and import it. Give some name and import it. Straightforward, right? So once you import it, you go and configure that. Now to configure it, this is the steps that what we are into, right? So for some reason, it's having some internet connectivity. I'll try to fix that. But once you configure this machine, then it will start talking to your this configuration wizard will complete, and then we will go with your vCenter configuration. Then you select this is source configuration, then you select the target configuration, and then replication settings, then you replicate your data. Those are the three steps. Okay, now we'll go with this for this from here, the configuration server and other stuff tomorrow, and then we will complete the migration activity tomorrow. Tomorrow on this on Monday. Okay, so on Monday, it is Friday, right? On Monday we'll continue. Okay. Now this is how your migration will happen. Again, this is only for VMware. For Hyper-V it is different. For physical servers it is different. I'll give you what are those steps for physical and Hyper-V in theory, but when it comes to the practical, you have to do it on your own, because I'll only cover the VMware part. Okay, because majority of the environments are VMware, so I thought of covering only with the VMware. And then I request you to go and look at the other migrations, right? Now let us go to our backup restoration, how it is working. Let us go to our VMs and see if the restoration is done or not. Right, you can see an additional VM that which got created, and if we look at the status, then you will be able to know whether it is up and running. Yes, it is running, and it took an IP address, the VNet or subnet, whatever you defined, and it also took the IP address. Now you can go and shut down this machine and then start using the restored machine, right? So that's how you can go and what do you call it, restore the entire virtual machine as well. Okay, so that is part of your backup. Let me go and see the job status. It should show you that the restoration of this particular VM1 is successful, and with the timestamp. right? Go to the jobs. Right, you can see the VM1 restore is completed and it took around 12 minutes. Right, restoration is very fast comparatively to back. Right, so that's how you can restore not only the files, you can also restore the entire VM. Now in backup vault, it's not only the VMs that which you can back up, but you can also in the recovery services vault, you can also back up your SQL database, and you can also back up your file shares, right? Azure file shares. That's what we had seen in our storage services, right? There are 4 types of storage services: blobs, tables, queues, and then files, right? In that you create a file share, right? You can also take backup of your file shares as well, right? Not only VMs, you can take backup of the file share, and then you can also take backup of your SQL database, right? You click on this. This is SQL Server on Azure VM, and you can also take backup of your Azure file share, right? So this is what I have for today. Tomorrow, I know I'm dividing this into because the time constraint 1 hour. I will not be able to show the entire migration. So far what we did is we are done with the backup part as well. Okay, so tomorrow we'll only stick on to the recovery services. In the recovery services, we had seen backup, which is completed. In the recovery services, second part is your migration, which we are looking at, where we are done with the assessment and got details on the data that whatever we capture and so on, right? And using that data, we group them, and now we are in the part of the migration itself, right? If you have any questions, you can ask. Any questions, guys?
That the software is there, that VM spare client that we need to install on virtual machine, or
Okay, VMware vCenter, you're saying, right?
yeah, yes,
Okay,
yes.
so yeah, so if you are doing that in lab, what you can do is you can build a VMware environment on a VMware workstation. That is possible. Uh, you need uh, around 16 GB or something around that. Put a workstation and you install ESXi, and then you have to install vCenter server on that actually. So that's how it will work, because uh, the lab that what I am using is a straight up forward lab where your production environment will be in a similar fashion. But if you want to do it at home and you have around 16 GB or 32 GB machine, go and put VMware ESXi and install vCenter, create a one virtual machine, and then you can migrate that virtual machine. That's how you can do it. But in production environment, you don't have those workstations and other things. So you have a VMware environment and vCenter server to which you connect and migrate.
Okay.
Any
So
other questions?
yeah, how many classes we are pending yet? I mean, still.
Okay, so another maybe 3 or 4 classes. 3 classes. I
Okay.
I I thought of completing today, but I think we couldn't able to do because of some lab problems one day, and there were 2 days or 3 days in the entire session. I was not available, right, in the training. So you may have to give me additional 3 days or 4 days. Maybe Thursday could be the final day. But don't worry. I mean, if you are really kind of take it fast, we can do it. But I want to cover things in a detailed way, so that's why we are doing in a very detailed. And
I'm
again
just
you, yeah, and again you don't get this level of explanation in any institute where they just show you and tell you, these are the steps, and then that's over. The migration is over, right? So we are trying to cover things, as much as possible, just to enable you and understand things in a more, you know, clearer and vivid way. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. So if you don't have any further questions, then I think we are done for today. We will catch up again on Monday, and we'll complete this migration class on Monday. Then few small topics like monitoring and what else we have? We have a couple of one networking topic that we will be covering. And then if you guys have any further questions around anything, I mean one class on the scripting part, or 1.5 day class, understanding the PowerShell usage and all those things we had seen initially, but I want to enable you in that front as well. And where do I get the you know templates, JSON files, ARM templates, and all those things? We'll also discuss in one and a half day, maybe around 1.5 hour or 2 hours. So hopefully we will be able to complete in the next 4 or 5 days. By Thursday, I should be able to wind up this entire batch. Unless you have any other special requirements which you want to kind of look into, then you can think on that. If that is part of this entire course curriculum. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks
Okay.
for your time, and
Thank
have
you.
a great day ahead. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.